All right, all right, all right. So, my name is Matt Pollard. This is Herb Talk. Most of you already know if you're here. I'm an herbalist, health coach, scientist, mental health coach, and permaculture designer. Sweet, somebody's calling me. That's awesome. Um, let's see. I need to stop all that sound, but it's here. There we go. There we go. Okay. Anyways, I have gone through many different medicinal systems, Ayurveda, traditional Chinese medicine, Taoist tonic herbalism, and traditional Western herbalism. I worked with doctors, chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists, acupressurists, MDs, general surgeons, all sorts of different people over the years. I've been doing this pretty hardcore for about 16 years and just been helping people through health. So um, that's who I am. And I'm probably going to do a little bit of an introduction every single time now because we're getting different people in. And so that way they know who I am, who's speaking. But today we're going to go through pretty quickly on insulin, which will provide a little bit more time for people to talk and whatnot, to have some conversation. And then, you know, if we don't have a whole bunch of people joining, I still have some things I can go into. And then we'll do a drawing. We've got the drawing box right here. And then we've got, oh, where does it? There it is. Herbs. Some beautiful herbs. This is the prize today. It's 12 chunks of reishi mushroom that can be used throughout about a month worth. So the winner of that drawing will get that. So let's dive right in. Um, if uh, if you can hear me, baby, can you hear me well? Am I there? She's not paying attention. It's okay. I'm just gonna go with everybody can hear me good. Just making sure it's not like just straight rain, because I'm in a tin can and it's raining outside. Okay, she can hear me. I don't know how to stop this thing from being loud too. So, all right, we're gonna dive right in here. All right, so we're gonna go through what insulin is, what it does, and um, all the different aspects of insulin, right? There's so much that goes into what insulin does, but we're gonna nerd out for a second, so just bear with me. Insulin is actually a protein hormone. A lot of hormones are fatty acid type, right? They come from lipids. This is actually a protein hormone, which means it's made from amino acids, right? It is synthesized from a gene blueprint. The gene for insulin is located on chromosome 11 in humans. The cell uses amino acids from your bloodstream to build it, right? So it grabs the amino acids out of your bloodstream. So you have to have free flowing amino acids to build this sequence. And here's the biological sequence, right? The insulin gene inside the beta cell nucleus is activated. So beta cells are cells that reside in the pancreas, right? They're cells that actually build insulin, which is part of the problem with type 1 diabetes, which we may or may not get to today, but we definitely will get to that in our diabetes course, if you will. But The insulin gene is inside the beta cell nucleus and it is activated. Well, how is it activated? It's activated by sugar, glucose, right? DNA is transcribed into messenger RNA, which is everybody knows about messenger RNA nowadays because of COVID and the COVID vaccines being an mRNA vaccine, right? They change your genetics, which is pretty wild. Um, so the mRNA travels to ribosomes. Ribosomes assemble amino acids into a chain called pre-proinsulin. Now, some of you might know the words I'm speaking, or at least some of them. Um, Ribosomes, endoplasmic reticulum, all those little things, those are organelles of a cell, right? A cell's made up of a bunch of organelles. They're like different parts of the manufacturing facility, right, inside of a cell. Pre-proinsulin enters the endoplasmic reticulum. A signal peptide is clipped off and it becomes proinsulin. So the pre is clipped off, it becomes proinsulin. Insulin folds and bonds into proper 3D structure. So it folds and then it bonds with a disulfide bond. That's where DMSO, MSM, having those sulfur bonds are extremely important for insulin, and having cysteine amino acids, L-cysteine. This is crucial for function. Inside the Golgi apparatus, so the Golgi apparatus is another organelle of the cell, an internal segment is removed. That removed piece is a C-peptide. What remains is active insulin, two chains connected by a disulfide bond, right? So you have, well, I'll get to that here in a second. Insulin is packed into vesicles and it sits there until blood glucose rises and it's released, right? The release trigger is glucose, right? Glucose enters the beta cells. It releases that trigger. ATP increases, calcium channels open up, and the vesicles fuse to the membrane. Insulin is released into the bloodstream, and so insulin, that's kind of how insulin is created, right? What it is 51 amino acids. It's a chain of 51 amino acids, and it's split up into two sections, kind of like this. You have an A and a B section. And what happens is when it's free flowing through the blood, it will link in to the cell A and B, and it opens up a channel for glucose to go into the cell to be created into ATP, more energy, right? So nutritionally speaking, insulin depends on adequate protein intake, sulfur containing amino acids, cysteine, methionine, MSM and DMSO, which we talked about last week, are really crucial for methionine creation. Healthy cellular energy, which is ATP. And you have to have functional pancreatic tissue, right? And that becomes an issue with type 1 diabetes. That's why type 1 diabetes is so difficult to deal with, because your pancreatic tissue is not, your beta cells are dying, right? So insulin is not made from sugar, right? It is made from protein. Sugar only triggers its release. So all of you got that little picture on school, and you can go to it if you want to, but you can see insulin is a gatekeeper, right? It opens the cells. It's the key. It unlocks the cell and opens it for glucose or sugar to be able to, roll out its function in the cell to create more energy. When it's active, so this is a part that a lot of people don't know, all right? This is a very important part about insulin. And this is why a lot of people are in trouble with anywhere from heart disease and all sorts of things. They don't understand why sugar would create issues with their heart and things like that. Well, I'm about to explain this a little bit. Insulin suppresses fat burning, okay? When insulin goes into the bloodstream, you can't burn any other source of calories except for the glucose that's in your blood. So what ends up happening is the lipids that are in your blood are just free flowing in your blood. They're not being used, right? The fat on your body goes dormant, right? You start storing excess glucose as fat because, you know, insulin, we'll get to that in a second, but what ends up happening is you have all this free flowing lipids in your blood, in your blood vessels. If you have any issues with scratching or calcification or anything in your blood vessels, those lipids will stick to it. And as they build over time, you can have heart attack, stroke, all those sort of things. This is a huge issue, causes a lot of issues with your heart. Um, but having that stoppage constantly on your insulin, stopping the ability for you to burn fat is a huge issue, and a lot of people don't understand that part of what insulin does. It literally stops everything else. Um, so yeah, this is why glucose spikes trigger storage rather than immediate energy use, right? the the liver has to store or process the glucose, which can create fatty liver disease, right? If it's overwhelmed for too long, too many years. um, there's a study out there that shows that a lot more people um, get fatty liver disease from sugar than they do from alcohol. So it's sugar is the problem. Alcohol is a form of high burning sugar, right? It's a very fast burning calorie. So it's basically like sugar. Um, so it's important to understand those things, that it's not just alcohol. Everybody sees alcohol, oh bad, you know, whatever. Sugar is the culprit, right? Alcohol is a byproduct of that, right? So it's very important to understand that what you're doing with sugar is just as important as what you're doing with alcohol, staying away from it, abstaining from it, being moderate with it, right? Whatever that may be for you, understanding that you need to be moderate with sugar as well. So the pancreas must ramp up insulin. Stress over time may contribute to insulin resistance. Blood vessels, high glucose, damages endothelium, which causes cardiovascular risk. Insulin doesn't react instantly. So this is the breaking point right here. This is why, right? You would think, oh, glucose goes up, insulin goes up, right? So insulin can take care of getting all that glucose in the cells. It's not the case. We are not meant to consume sugar like we do. And here is a biological indicator of that. Sugar up, insulin like this. It is a gradual compounding build. It does not instantly go up with sugar. So during that period of time where sugar is up and insulin is not, what do you think's happening with all that sugar? It's wreaking havoc, first of all. Second of all, it's being stored as fat. It's going to the liver, it's going to be processed and turned into long-term storage because you have excess sugar. So the body, in its infinite wisdom, won't allow you to kill over. And so in its resilience, it will say, okay, we have an abundance. Let's store it for later when we don't have an abundance. Why? Because naturally, we're not supposed to always have an abundance. All right. That is the lag of insulin. There's a lag between eating sugar and insulin peaks. So, repeated spikes from refined sugar or sugary drinks is repeated stress on the system. It's part of why metabolic syndrome and type 2 diabetes are so common today. That's a hard one to swallow. But mostly those are dietary issues. We are eating how we're not supposed to be eating. End of story. Um, so here's what's crucial to all of this. The body can burn fat continuously, right? Without the spikes and valleys that glucose creates. Fat is the ultimate body source of energy. And you can tell this by so many biological factors. For years, we have been told fat is bad. You can still go to the store to this day and get fat-free things on the shelf. Fat-free sour cream. What? Like, why? This is insane. It is, and what replaces the fat is the lactase or the lactose, the sugar. It's a sugar. So you take all the fat out of it and it's just sugar. But why? Why would you do this? I'm asking the elites, um, not you guys, because I know you're in the same boat as me as to why. Why are we doing this? It's amazing to me. Um, but fat is the ultimate fuel for the body. It really is. It's the ultimate clean calorie source. Now, if you've gone through the four components of the diet, you know that clean calories are a crucial basis with your food, right? Water is the foundation, getting good, clean water. But when you step into calories and what you're going to consume food-wise, fat is your ultimate calorie source. It's slow burning. You have constant energy all the time. You can sleep better. You're not waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning craving or snacking late at night, right? Get off the sugar, get on the fat, and you will notice this balanced energy. Now, it's not easy, right? Because we're all sugar addicts. We've all been fed sugar for our entire lives, and it has a very similar effect, dopamine-wise and neurological-wise, as far as stimulating as like cocaine. It literally is um, almost identical in the way that it reacts with our dopamine receptors. The problem is we've been doled down by it for so long that it just doesn't even really affect us anymore. Um, so using fat as a primary fuel source, it stabilizes blood sugar indefinitely, reduces inflammatory stress. You get constant energy, like I said, and less oxidative stress on the liver. You won't get fatty liver disease. If your main source of fuel is fat, you won't get fatty liver disease. And I know that sounds contraindicated, but it's true. Sugar is what creates that. So fat is designed as the long-term fuel, and glucose is more of a quick situational fuel, right? Don't get me wrong. If you're a marathon runner, 20 minutes into the marathon, you might need a little bit of a glucose boost, right? Because cardiovascular exercise drops all of the energy in the blood first, right? Um, Within like the first 20 minutes. I think it's 20 to 30 minutes of cardiovascular exercise, and it depends on the intensity of it. But it will drop all of the glucose out of your blood first. So you will be able to um, utilize that energy right then to express that out into your muscles. So having that little bit of glucose gain is extremely important. Now, if you are, and that could be in the form of anything, right? But if you are already on a very high fat protein diet, um, you will have constant energy throughout that marathon. Um, and you'll have great constant energy, but those little bit of glucose spikes can be really beneficial. There's different ways of doing that to where you can actually have a slow release of energy in your system before you go do a marathon like that. It's actually pretty, there's some techniques that you can use that are really cool that used to be used down in South America. People would be able to run 100 miles without stopping using chia seeds and different nutrient deliverers like that. So the dietary implications of this: avoiding refined sugar and simple carbs reduces insulin spikes. Prioritizing fats and protein supports metabolic stability. Herbs, movement, and nutrient-dense foods further enhance this system. Um, Different things there are a bunch of different herbs out there to support the liver. One of my favorite ones is milk thistle seed, for, repairing the liver, through, uh, alcoholic addiction, through, sugar addiction. There's a lot of things that will destroy your liver through just toxicity in general. Milk thistle is awesome. And we'll do an herb talk just specifically on milk thistle. But nettle leaf, hawthorn, reishi all support the liver, circulatory system, and inflammation balance. Movement improves insulin sensitivity and glucose uptake. Real quick, before we get off of this and go into talking and doing the drawing, um, insulin sensitivity. So, insulin sensitivity is caused by a couple of things, but the main contributing factor to insulin sensitivity is eating fat, high trans fatty acids, and high sugar, at the same time. Uh, that causes an issue. A donut is pretty much the ultimate insulin sensitivity food, right? You will develop insulin resistance if you eat donuts, right? That is like the ultimate insulin resistance. What happens is the fat will actually stick to the cell and stop uh, the insulin from um, being able to open up the cell and let the glucose in, right? So you don't want to have both of them together, basically. It is a horrible combination. Meat and potatoes, horrible combination. I know everybody's like, oh crap. But carbohydrates, if you're going to do carbohydrates and protein, right? If you're going to do, um, if you're going to do fat and protein. Those two combinations are better than the fat and the carbohydrates together. Okay? That's when people are talking about food combination, that's the basics of food combination. Certain foods don't go with other foods, and never in our existence have we been able to have such foods combined together until recent years, and you see all these metabolic issues, these metabolic diseases popping up. So this is something to take note of before we get into everything else as far as just talking herbs and stuff. How's everybody doing today? It's okay, I'll wait. Is anybody paying attention? Man, we got a bunch of people on here. This is awesome.
I'm doing good.
That's good. Sweet. You're here. This is this is what we're drawing for today, guys. Everybody's in the drawing. We're gonna do this once a month. So whenever you guys get on Herb Talk, your name will go into the drawing box, and we will reach in and grab a name out of the drawing box. So Lane's in here 4 times for this month, even though this is like her 5th time on it. But I couldn't count January. Sorry, Lane. But
It only takes one vote.
yeah, that's true. Yep, but everybody that's in here now is in it. And so Lane's got a pretty good chance of winning, though. I'm sorry, guys. You got to get in here every week.
Hey, God is greater than that.
Amen. Amen. But yeah, so that's kind of the gist on insulin. It's extremely important to understand the fat part of it, because it has caused, it's wreaked havoc on so many people, and caused so many metabolic issues. It's sugar. Sugar's the culprit, honestly. Um, it always has been, and our consumption of sugar has increased 100-fold in the last, I think, 75 years. It's increased 100-fold. It used to be 2.5 pounds of sugar per person per year, roughly. Now we're up to about 250 pounds of sugar per person per year on average in the U.S. Um, it's astronomical increase. So that, along with all the other toxicity that we have to deal with, it's not easy on our bodies. We are extremely resilient to be alive and halfway decently well, most of the time, in the environments that we've produced and the things that we feed ourselves now. It's amazing to me that we're even around still. But God in his infinite wisdom has created us to be extremely resilient. So, but
Like the differences between the different types of sugars for highly refined versus
yeah.
ethical versus things like agave nectar and
Oh yeah. Yeah, so there are a bunch of different differences. So uh so you have monosaccharides, polysaccharides. That just means, and disaccharides, right? So saccharide is sugar. That's the tech technical term for it, right? And then you have um fibers that are sweet in flavor, and then you have chemical compounds that are sweet in flavor. Like stevia has riboside A, I believe is what it's called, the compound in it that is sweet to your tongue. But basically that's how many chains um, of sugars that it is bonded together that has to be broken apart, right? And so a monosaccharide, like corn or popcorn, for instance, is a monosaccharide. That process is super quick into glucose in the body, right? Digest, gets uptaken, and it forms into glucose very fast. Same with alcohol. Alcohol's the quickest burning calorie, right? So when you drink alcohol, forget the time frames. I should have been more prepared with the time frames of sugar, but we were talking about insulin, so I didn't get that. But the time frames of sugar, alcohol is extremely quick, and so that's why it does often, because people, when people are addicted to alcohol and drink it often, it does produce very serious cardiovascular and liver issues. Um, but then on top of that, if they have a really sugary diet, it doesn't help. Usually people who are addicted to alcohol are addicted to sugar, for sure. Um, I've noticed that, like, I have to be careful with alcohol because I love sugar. And so I have to also be careful with sugar. So, but Um, so then you have polysaccharides, and a lot of polysaccharides are really interesting. They're long chain sugars. Um, and you have disaccharides, right? But stuff like high fructose corn syrup has been already broken down super refined to where it is basically as quick or maybe even quicker at processing into glucose than alcohol is. So a lot of these super refined sugars, like high fructose corn syrup, is extremely detrimental as well. Uh, let's see, um, disaccharides and polysaccharides. Now, mushrooms have polysaccharides in them, like reishi mushroom, for instance, has polysaccharides in them, but they're super long chain polysaccharides. So they don't even really act as sugar. And actually, the beta glucans and Other polysaccharides in there actually link into the immune system and help your immune system grow and build, which is very interesting. But the yeah, that's kind of the difference between. Now there are fibers like agave nectar is a fiber that is um, a prebiotic fiber that is, so prebiotic meaning it'll be eaten by probiotics, right? By bacteria. So the bacteria in your gut benefit from it. Now you can still get a little bit of a glucose spike with inulin and there are some different ones, and I can't remember all of the different prebiotic fibers, but I think there are a few different ones. But agave is one that I use a lot. You still get a little bit of a spike, but it's mostly off of the taste buds. So anything that you put into your mouth and that you taste, especially if it's sweet, your taste buds will signal to release energy into the bloodstream, glucose, right? So you'll have a little bit of a spike no matter what you do, even if you chew gum, right? But it's not significant enough to cause any issues or anything, and your insulin and your body can deal with it easily. But keeping that sugar load low is extremely important. If you're going to eat sugar, this is why fiber is necessary if you are eating carbohydrates. If you eat just sugar, like a Coca-Cola, right? It's just straight up high fructose corn syrup or sugar, whichever is thrown in there nowadays. They're starting to do real sugar. It's like, well, what were you putting in there before? Um, but so with the sugar doses like that in liquid form, your body doesn't even recognize it as a food, and it just gets processed into sugar super quick. Um, so stuff like that, if when there's no fiber included, that sugar gets uptaken just extremely quick. But fiber will actually slow down the uptake of sugar. So like if you eat an apple, for instance, it is very sugary, right? A lot of sugar in it, and it's a fructose. It's a short chain uh it's a short chain sugar. Jeez. Um, but it will still be slowly uptaken because of all the fiber that your digestive tract has to process as well. So there's a difference there. Fiber is not an essential nutrient, right? Everybody's like, oh, I've got to get my daily fiber intake. You need fiber to go poop. You need fiber this, fiber that, fiber. It's not an essential nutrient. You can look it up. Um, it's on any spectrum. You don't have to have fiber, right? But it is important if you are consuming carbohydrates to have fiber along with it, right? That will decrease your spikes in blood sugar for sure. But I hope that's adequate. For yeah, yeah, sugar's it's just one not to play around with and get right in your diet if you really want to be healthy, you know. But everybody's addicted to it. It's hard. I know. I'm the main sugar culprit. That's why I like sweet stuff, but I try to get different things. But so chemical compounds like stevia, I think monk fruit is a chemical compound in monk fruit that is sweet. Um, Trying to think of some others off the top of my head. Um, hmm, I can't think of any right now, but they are they're really cool. They actually have, oh, man, stevia has something really cool about it, and I can't remember what it was. I've got it in my notes somewhere from years ago when I was studying stevia, but it actually helps insulin.
The extract that they pulled out of it, I think the prohibited something A
Yeah.
is 400 times sweeter than sugar.
Yes, yeah, you got to learn to work with it because it's super, super sweet. And it's so sweet that it almost has a chemical compound kind of flavor. It's actually, so I equate it to like the gosh dang, what are the sweet and low, right, of sugar, right? It's very similar to that kind of sweetness. But sweet and low is a neurological toxin, so you don't want to, when you're going no sugar, you don't want sweet and low, acesulfame, and all those others. You you still want to try and do good, right? You want to convert your sugar sources over to something clean and something that's not going to harm you, right? It's difficult, I know, um, but being prepared and slowly just converting your pantry over to having, what's that?
I was going to say that it's good advice because aspartame and things in sweet and low in a so-called diet drinks um, have been actually proven to cause cancer and neurological issues.
Yep.
Aspartame, yeah, I believe it is aspartame that causes cancer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of these things are carcinogenic, and
Oh, designer.
what's that?
Sorry, that was Gabriel.
Oh, what's up, Gabe? That's funny. Hey,
He's listening.
that's awesome.
You tell him he doesn't need to be eating ice cream every day at lunch.
Yeah, yeah. Only ice cream your mommy makes, not the ice cream at school. That's important. It's more fun to make it with your mom anyways. That's the only kind of ice cream I eat too, is the kind that my mom makes. I said that, Christian. What's that? Yeah, all organic. But
The energy drinks. The energy drinks.
what's that?
I'm kidding. Oh,
What's
the energy. Talking about the sugars with the energy drinks.
mhm.
I need a good supplement that doesn't involve sugar with energy drinks. I'm trying to get away from coffee, but I don't know what to do.
Drink coffee. Um,
Mushroom coffee?
yeah, I mean, mushroom coffee is really great. Coffee, it gets a bad rap, but coffee's not horrible. It's the source of coffee that you go with, right?
Yes.
Um, it's just good to find a good source of mold-free coffee. I think that's the most important part. Um, Mold-free coffee. If you're not seeking out a good source of coffee, you're going to have a lot of almost almost like allergy issues, right? That you could have. Um, Coffee's has a bunch of different benefits. I mean, my dad just recently started drinking coffee for benefits, um, but it can be used when it's used properly. Clean source. Once again, you're always looking for clean sources. That's what's that, Em?
Send over your link, because I said send over your link. Coffee,
Mm.
because I remember.
Yeah, I really like one called 7 Weeks. 7 Weeks Coffee. It's a really good faith-based coffee source, and they are like certified third-party mold-free. Um, so very, and they harvest it at the right times and everything. It's really good stuff, and it tastes phenomenal. Um, what I what I've been doing, what's that?
Do they have decaf?
Yeah, they got decaf. You can get decaf, and and then decaf also, when you get decaf, you want to make sure that it's being processed correctly. Like some coffees are chemically decaffeinated. I prefer like the CO2 pressurized method because CO2 is not, harmful and but chemical residues are. So, but this company does a really good job at making sure their quality is up to par. And when you buy from them, a portion of their proceeds goes towards uh, motherhood clinics. Like they're like really pro-life, and so the reason they're called 7 weeks is because um, the the baby is the size of a coffee bean, at 7 weeks, and so that's why they call 7 weeks coffee. It's pretty cool. But
You put that link on the website, please?
yeah, when I post this, I'll put a link in with it right there so you can get it. It's pretty good stuff. Good stuff. That's the kind of coffee that we're going to be using for the coffee truck.
I get the organic coffee pods over at Costco is what I use, but they don't have the ones for decaf for Pops because he has to have decaf.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, if you're sensitive to caffeine and such, yeah, that's important for sure. For sure. But yeah, I don't know how we got to coffee, but oh, energy drinks. Oh, so there are different, so if you get tired of coffee or you don't like coffee for whatever reason, 'cause coffee's not like my kick, like I'm more of the energy drink person. There are all sorts of products out there that are really, really good. Ones that are powders that have different herbs and stuff in them, and that little bit of caffeine kick. That comes from green tea. Yerba mate is also another choice. There are a lot of different products out there. And I've seen recently, and I'm super excited about this, and I had this idea like 10 years ago, and I'm really upset I didn't follow through with it. But there are Yopon holly farms in America now. So people are actually growing Yopon hollies for caffeine sources. You can actually buy bags of Yopon holly um, that they're growing organically here in the US and use it just like yerba mate or coffee or anything else. So that is pretty dang cool. So,
I remember when you were talking about that years ago. Trying to get those plants in.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, pretty awesome.
yeah. Still talking about it. Oh wow,
Thanks, Lane.
yeah, let's see.
Thanks, someone laying that.
Yeah, I know. Well, I had Yopon hollies planned for our house, but we just had so many issues with planting plants in our yard. Um,
It's gonna take time.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm definitely gonna be planting. I just realized there's a chat for this whole thing and people are chatting in it. So sorry, I was just looking at that. Yeah, somebody said I just love chips. Okay.
Me.
Yeah. There's a company out there, I don't know if you've seen it yet, called Masala, I believe is
No,
what.
will you write that in the chat?
Yeah.
I don't have to spell it.
Masala. I believe this is the name of it. If it's not Masala, uh it is Masa, but it's something like that, right? But they actually, so they use all organic ingredients, but they instead of using seed oils, right, and would that have fats that don't process through your system and just wreak a whole bunch of havoc. Um, they have they fry them in beef tallow, and so they're really really good for you. They're a really great snack if you want a snack or whatnot. I don't really approve of snacking for um, for just for the motion of eating something. I approve of drinking stuff, like stay drinking stuff all the time. But like snacking is a really big issue that we have nowadays. Um,
I like to snack.
yeah,
My kids do that too.
yeah, yeah. Snacking is it's a form of like blood sugar control, right? You snack to keep glucose in your bloodstream. Like that's why I was saying with a marathon runner, it's it's important to kind of snack during a marathon, right? Or during a high cardio exercise. But any other time, you should have constant fat calories coming in.
Yeah.
quick before I forget, at Costco the other weekend, there is a new chip that's fried in beef tallow.
Mm,
I didn't look at all the ingredients on it. My dad had picked it up.
yeah. RFK is
Yeah.
making changes apparently.
Yeah, and they make these, well, I don't know how bad these are, but they make the chips with the no dyes and only a few ingredients. But when you read the ingredients, it still says sunflower oil. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's better than what it had in there originally.
Yeah, you know, um, the oxidative stress and stuff that comes from seed oils is pretty detrimental. It's you know, I don't know who that.
This would cause a lot of our inflammation.
Yeah. Yeah, it's extremely high omega-6, high omega-9s, I believe, and not enough omega-3s. Um, Different fatty acids trigger different inflammatory responses in your body. That's why I like turmeric so much because it has a TNF, tumor necrosis factor 1, that especially on the diets that we're in with today with the high imbalance of fatty acids and the inflammatory responses, turmeric will help to reduce those inflammatory responses, right? So it's really good on a recovery back to health and just overall every once in a while to have turmeric in your body. And it can be grown here. You guys are growing it, right? Sarah, you guys are growing a turmeric
Did
and
you say, sorry, that they don't?
you're good. I was saying, yeah, you're growing turmeric in the greenhouse, right?
Yeah, we got a bunch of turmeric and ginger.
Heck yeah, I know where I'm coming. Get some turmeric.
Yeah, Daniel just harvested probably enough to fill the bottom of a, just like the round 5-gallon bucket. He
Yeah,
harvested some for mini market.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
It's good stuff right there.
it is. I can get you some next time I see Jennifer.
It'd be awesome. We'll make a trade. I'll give you some bacon for turmeric.
Yeah. How much? We'll have to talk about that later.
Yeah,
The guy that we buy bacon from is $15.99 a pound.
yeah. We've been charging like 4.50 a pound or something like that. So
Well, yeah, I'll be buying from y'all.
yeah, I mean, I was just trying to get, somewhat of our cost back into it. I wasn't even worried about making any money right now. But
Yeah. Well, we trade with him with produce.
yeah.
He's, um, he bought some of our sheep,
Mm,
and so now he's got the Catawban sheep, and I think that's what he's been breeding for the lamb.
mm.
We need to process some goats.
Yeah, I've got 2 of them I'm ready to process.
Well, we got a bunch, and then we're gonna have babies hitting the ground.
Yeah.
So,
Well, are there any more questions? Now, you said in here in the chat, stevia has zero glycemic impact, potentially lowers blood pressure. That's right. That's the benefit that I was thinking about. It has an action. I can't remember exactly what action it is, but it helps to lower blood pressure, um, and boasts anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Yes. Yes, yes. So, yeah, a bunch of different, there's tons of different options out there, right? Our diets consist of about 3% of the food that exists on the planet. And when you think about that, you're like, what? Like, what we see on a day-to-day basis in stores, in the grocery store, and, even with all the abundance that's in the grocery store, that's really only about 3% of the foods that exist. A lot of the foods aren't grocery store worthy, right? Foods have to meet a certain criteria in order to get into a grocery store, and one of those is longevity of shelf life, right? And that's not always the best quality, guys. Like something that can just indefinitely exist on a shelf is not always the best thing for you. Um, that's why they harvest bananas before they're ripe, right? That's why you see a bunch of green ones and a bunch of yellow ones. It's because they harvest them when they're green and they ripen off the tree. And it takes a while for that to happen, so They can get them to a store and get them out before they're rotten. Um, and a lot of these hybridized fruits and vegetables and plants and stuff have been hybridized for that specific quality, like for that quality of being having a long shelf life. Bananas are one of them. There's like wars and stuff, and whole countries that have gone to war over bananas. It's bananas, really. It's bananas. Um, but there's a documentary out there about. I mean, we have uh, Banana Republic is a is a term that's used, isn't it, for like a communist takeover, I believe. But um, yeah, it's pretty nuts. So the shelf life is a big thing, a big criteria that it has to meet. There's other criteria that are extremely detrimental to the food that has to be met. For instance, we'll take chicken, for example. You go into a store and you buy chicken, there are a lot of issues with that chicken just because it has to meet certain USDA standards. It has to be bleached. Doesn't matter if it's organic. It has to be bleached. It's nasty.
People are just now finding out about that too.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, it's
They say
crazy.
it should be air chill
Yeah,
if we buy organic chicken from the store.
yeah, yeah,
That's all I gotta say about chicken.
yeah. Otherwise, it's sitting in bleach water.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
And in its own poop, right? Because they don't kill them kosher way. They kill them by electrolysis a lot of times, which causes them to uh, defecate all over themselves, and that gets into the water and just the whole process. And so it's a very unclean um, situation, right? And the USDA standards are built for farmers per like I can't remember the exact calculation of it, but their their whole system is built around an industry that calculates pound per hour of what they can get out, and they call that quality, right? It's insane. It's not built off what's the cleanest way of doing things and the best for our bodies and the best for, everyone. It's how much money can they make off of it per hour, basically. I think it's what it's ran down to. So it's pretty nuts. Um, that's why a lot of small farmers don't like dealing with the inspectors and stuff like that, because in order to legally sell eggs in a particular way, you have to have like a $10,000 bleaching facility and processing facility just to sell eggs in the most unnatural way possible. Like it's crazy. So, but is there any other questions before we log off of here? Oh, we got to do the drawing, but I guess we should do that, huh? Let's go ahead and do that. The drawing box. Jennifer pulled this out of our storage. It's a pretty cool little drawing box. I knew she would have something. There's a bunch of little pieces of paper in here. I'm going to draw a name. Whoever wins gets that right there. It's 12 pieces of reishi mushroom. I'll send it with instructions on how to use it. Oh, so when we were talking about the coffee, one of the things I was going to say is if you want to make your own mushroom coffee, get a good source of coffee, heat your water, boil your water with reishi mushroom in it, and use that water for your coffee. I've done that plenty of times. It works out really great.
That is really smart.
Thanks. um, all right, yeah, there's tons of strategies you can use to get herbs into your body. One of the things I was thinking about this week was, if with only eating a certain amount of times a day and just being in a situation where you can prepare things and get stuff into your body, you know, how often are you really getting herbs or something into your body, even when you're thinking about it, right? And so there's all sorts of ways to deliver herbs and deliver medicine into your body. And those are some of the things that we'll continue to go through. Just introducing and prepping for, prepping your days, prepping your weeks, prepping your years, even with different medicines that you can continually have going in your body all day long, so you just feel fantastic all the time. And so that's probably the hardest part of herbalism or just health in general, is getting it in, right? There's a lot of different things you want to get in your body, um, but where and when and how. And there's just different methods like that, like using your water for, the tea and then using it for the coffee. All right, I'm going to draw a name. Here it comes. This is the name right here. It's not the name above all names, but it is a name. All right. Uh-oh. Wait, where is it? There, do it. Maxwell. It's my dad. You won, Dad.
It only takes one.
Yep, it only takes one.
Wait.
Yeah, you won something.
$20 bill. I mean,
That's awesome. So I'll be sending this with you. Show you how to use it.
yeah, I think that's the first time I've ever won anything in my whole life.
I really thought Lane was gonna win. Yeah, I really thought Lane was gonna win because she's in there 4 times, but
Sorry, Lane.
no. But all right, y'all. Well, I'm
Actually drank some this morning.
oh, nice, good.
Lane is out there harvesting for herself.
Yeah. So one of the things, uh, so for the next ones, I've got a bunch of different herbs here. But one of the next ones I'm looking for it, the next giveaway, just so you guys know what's coming. My chair is super squeaky. Let's see. Oh, where is it? Okay. Okay, so this is part of it right here. So I don't know if you can read this. Is it backwards?
Yeah, we can read it.
Okay. Wormwood. Wormwood.
Wormwood powder.
Black,
Black, oh, that's good too.
black walnut.
You gonna deworm us?
Yep. I was looking for the last one. I don't know where it's at. So I'm creating,
Something on that one.
yeah, I'm creating a anti-parasitic blend. So it should get rid of all parasites and larvae and eggs as well. So it's so I'll basically I'll build. Hey there.
You know, it's not on the camera. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Oh, look.
Um,
Well, if not, I can buy some from you too, Matt.
yeah, so I'm gonna be creating that here soon. Um, I've got
You got a little herb store?
maybe, I don't know. I used to do that. I used to sell the oh, everybody's showing off the kiddos.
Ooh. Good Lane again.
That's funny. But yeah, I used to build supplements all the time, so um I've actually formulated pretty intense formulas for companies and stuff. But yeah, I've got a capsule maker. I'm gonna start making some capsules and stuff, and so yeah, that'll be part of the giveaways as well. So log in, get on here next time, and if you haven't, read the book. It's really awesome for transforming your thoughts around health and categorizing it. It's meant to help. It's meant to help you change your mindset for when you walk into a store or when you're looking for food. You can say, okay, let me organize my thoughts here. Clean calories. What are my clean calories? Okay, what's the next step, right? What are the superfoods, mineral dense, right? What are the herbs that I want to introduce, right? And then water, of course, always good, clean sources of water. So it's meant to kind of organize your thoughts when you're able to, or when you're going through your shopping list and things like that to help you come from a place of cleanliness rather than, you know, just what am I craving sort of deal, so that you can make better decisions. So,
One of the first to do when you go in is be committed to reading ingredients.
yes, yeah, that's super important. Obviously, though, like if you're getting, you know, raw ingredients and stuff, it doesn't really have an ingredient list. Um, but just choosing, yeah, reading ingredients is huge. Um, just staying away from stores is like the best idea, but as much as you possibly can, you know. Um, but obviously it's, you know, it's difficult. We all get things from the store. We need things. Um, we don't need them, but we like to go get them for convenience. Um, but yeah, yeah, definitely read ingredients. That is huge. We'll go over, I'll have to do a video on ingredients and items and what they actually mean and stuff. There's a lot of stuff that just is not what it says it is, basically.
Have you looked at the Bobby Approved app for people that need help?
Oh,
'Cause it shows all the
yeah.
process stuff.
Yeah, I have seen that. That is really cool.
I've used that. It tells you what's okay and what's not.
Yeah, and you can like take, you can
Like,
take,
if I click the food back, like, oh, okay.
yeah, you can like take a picture of it, can't you?
Yes, you scan it and then it tells you like seed oils, why you don't eat seed oils. It's not organic. It's sprayed with this. It causes inflammation, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's super cool.
It's a free app, so it definitely helps.
My plan is to grow what's too expensive at the store, Lane says. Yep, that's definitely. That's where meat is huge right now. Like it's too expensive at the store, so grow it yourself if you can. But and it's cleaner. And it's cleaner, you know. Or find somebody like me or, you know, Sarah and Daniel, people that have, or even Lane, I don't know if she still does it, but she used to. Um, but people that have the ability to grow it and will grow an extra for you, you know, like, yeah, here's a extra turkey or a couple chickens or whatnot, that they have readily available. So, yeah, it's, you know, there's people out there doing the same things that have extra. There is abundance everywhere. You just got to go looking for it and make the right friends. So, for sure, for sure. All right, y'all. Come to the next one. You'll be entered into the drawing for the anti-parasite cleanse. And I'll see you next time. It's good hearing from y'all.
Thanks, man.
Later, me.